Welcome to the Evening Gamer. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Guy. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome back.
Back again.
Back
Episode
again.
14.
You know what? I was actually listening back to our Sea of Stars episode, last episode, and I think our podcasting skills are developing, but something I still haven't nailed down is how to start an episode.
I don't know. I thought last episode was pretty good. We rolled straight into it.
Yeah, that was good. And I'm also keeping a tally of how many episodes we can actually do without editing. And that was number 3.
I'm pleased with that. I love a one and done.
And I'm talking like no editing at all.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Just drop it straight live.
And oh my God, it's good when I don't have to edit. Man,
Yeah.
I can just rock up on a Tuesday, ready to go. Fucking plug in that Evening Gamer at the beginning, and we're just G
And
to
just
G.
post it. Yeah.
GG's.
We should start just doing it live. There'd be so much more swearing
Or you
involved.
mean like on a live stream?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah, neither.
What's going on?
Mate, Swans, top of the table.
They are AFL.
Woo!
Let's go. And oh my God, thank God they beat GWS. I hate that team.
I don't hate them. I'm just pleased that we're the top of the table.
I think it's just because of Toby Green. Man, if he wasn't in there, and he keeps carrying on like a child. Bro, you're 30. Don't you put on your pants every morning and be like, I should probably start acting my age? Not him.
Yeah, for our listeners, wherever you are in the world, AFL is a sport that we play in Australia, and if you're into sport on any level, check out this sport because my God, it's a hell of a sport.
Every American that I've come into contact with in my job that I've recommended AFL to has come back to me like a week later and gone, yeah.
I feel like we're in this day and age at the moment where it's like, okay, whatever country you're from, you've got your national sport, you got your football, you got whatever it is, your European handball, whatever it might be, ice hockey. But if you like sport and you like competitive sort of, this is modern day gladiatorial stuff, AFL is just a hell of a sport to get into.
AFL is a hell of a sport to get into. And do yourself a favour, support the Swans. You won't be disappointed.
They are so good and have been so good for so long. Them and Geelong have probably been the top 2 teams for the better part of like 30 years.
They're my safe space. Whenever I know that like the Formula One isn't going to go Pierre Gasly's way or Daniel Ricciardo's way or the
Never
Waratahs
happens.
are going to lose, I just know I've got the Swans on a Sunday.
The Swans.
It's going to work. We had a few write-ins. Royce, I was texting Royce on Instagram last night. Mate, thanks for the shout-out. He recommended Ashen, which is like another very like simplistic Souls game. Downloaded it last night, started playing it. Yeah, very good recommendation.
Yeah, nice.
So,
I saw that message. I'm keen to give a try to some of them. I haven't looked into them yet.
Yeah, well, I'll do a review on it at some point, very early in the game at the moment. But yeah, thanks so much for the recommendation. And I suppose that just plays into the fact that we listen. And I'm so happy to have another avenue of people that can recommend games to me.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
No, definitely.
Also, finish Shogun. Shogun? You've been
The
watching
TV
it?
shows.
Yeah,
I'm going to start it tomorrow night.
Yeah. Decent. Good watch. Would recommend it to anyone, as I said, I think a couple of episodes ago. But I was really hoping it would just be a one-season thing. You know when you're halfway through a TV show and you're like, I hope this is like a... Yeah. And I don't know where they're going to go with it in season 2, but like the finale of the entire thing could have been done in one more episode.
I was so worried that you were about to ruin the show for me.
Oh, no. No, not at all.
I just finished Fallout, and that also goes set up for season 2, which is a bit annoying.
Fallout's a weird one for me. How much more story can there be after nukes? I feel like that's endgame shit.
Oh, I mean, the whole thing is after nukes, and they do such a good job of it. Like, it is such a bleak future, and the way the corporations just willingly allow it to happen just because they know they can make money off it in some long game thing. It's so wild.
And I did go back and download Fallout 4 off the back end of that.
I think a lot of people did, and they released it in like an updated version so people could like it's been one of the most downloaded games recently.
Yeah, but that was one of those games that I didn't even download it because of the TV show. I just downloaded it because it was like one of those games that I missed.
Yeah.
You know when you miss a game?
Yeah.
You just didn't play it when it dropped or never got into the franchise or whatever it was. That was one of them for me. And I saw it lingering there on the Microsoft Store and I was like, sure, I'll give it a crack. Why not?
I actually think you and I, if we look back over our gaming history, there is so many games that you've done that I've missed and that I've done and that you've missed. Like we've almost like patchworked, covered off a hell of a lot of games and seldom actually landed on the same ones at the same time.
But that's what I love as well. And that's why this works.
Yeah.
Because we have different gaming profiles.
Very true. And today's game, I feel like, is going to be a hotly debated one.
Senuas Sacrifice. Today is everything Senuas Sacrifice. But before we get into that, I just want to say, because I revisited Cyberpunk.
Yes.
When I first started playing Cyberpunk, I got about 10 hours in, and then I think I had a lot of other games going on at the point in time, so I just uninstalled it because I needed room on my hard drive. And I'm notorious for this, going back when I don't have a game and re-downloading something and fucking just enjoying it way more than I was.
Well, I mean, ever since they did the update, and they rejigged the whole skills system, and then the DLC came out and that had Idris Elba in it and it was really good. So, like, I played it pre the changeover and still enjoyed it back then. Like, it is The Witcher. They know how to tell stories. I found it, if I'd score it really high in the storyline, but I never could get over the marketing dog whistle that they did to us and the bait and switch. Just completely, like, that game was of a fever pitch hype level for me, that I love that kind of futuristic world. So I was so keen for it. And when they landed it and everyone was like, what have you done? It's like so much reputation had they built up on the Witches that they just buried. And now they're on a Phoenix redemption arc, and they did have gotten it back, but still, it was one of those games that I never could get over that fact.
But what I was going to say is, like, it made me realize, like, what a time to be alive. Like, you look at gaming right now, and you look at any time in history you could have been alive. It's a pretty good one to be, like, in this day and age with gaming, where it is. The graphics that are involved, the storyline that could come into these games, like, fuck, we're actually pretty lucky if you think about it. And what I'd say to that is I had the same experience with Cyberpunk, kind of sitting back after a couple of hours of gaming and being like, oh, this hasn't hit the mark. And then I think, when you remove the inertia and you come back years later and you pick something up, it's almost like you do it without bias, and I'm loving it at the moment. And it's definitely, I've also realized through playing it, doing this podcast has changed the way I play games. Like, we spoke a little bit about fast travel and, like, that being lazy gaming, and I'm not even consciously making the effort, but I'm just manually driving everywhere in that game now. Yeah,
I remember I did that as well, because that was a lot of fun. You'd sort of pull up on various little moments, and I think that is always, it's the Red Dead Redemption 2 is always the standout for me of just coming across those moments written into the game and your experiences with it. Cyberpunk does it just as well as anybody else.
Yeah, agreed. And one last thing, mate. So we kind of dipped our toe in Remnant 2 DLC this week.
Yes, we did.
And I really liked it. Like, I've liked what we've done. Did you enjoy playing it with me?
Yeah. That was I didn't have a problem with it.
I got a little bone to pick with you.
Oh fuck, here we go.
You playing co-op with you is so much fun. I love it. But fuck,
there's a big but.
You run off so often. Like, I'm like walking around being like, look at these jellyfish. Look at the scenery around here. Look at this game. And then I look down and you've just nailed the next area of enemies and you're picking up all the loot.
All right.
I'm like, dude.
We're hashing it out. So you went up and started talking to an NPC and I can't talk to him at the same time. So I was like, well, I'm not going to stand here with my dick out. I'm going to go do something. So I went back to an area we'd already cleared and found there was another little pocket off the side. Just did it for like all of maybe 5 minutes, but it was on the other side of the map. And you were still standing there by the time I got back.
There I am, listening to the lore, getting across the
Says
story.
You usually shoot these NPCs, you don't even hear the lore.
There I am, getting across to the lore and the story, and I've just got new loot entering my inventory just randomly. There's some hardened iron, there's some scrap, and I'm like, what is this kid fucking
I just
doing?
found a little loot corner, It was how good was it though, where we were like playing it and you kept finding those little lips to drop off and you'd be like, oh, there's a little like cave in here, and then I found one, I was like, oh, there's a lip here. There was no fucking lip.
You're just standing
on the edge of a map.
Yeah, it's almost like, why have that why make it that you can stand there as well? And also, when you die in that gaming co-op, you should be downed when you fall off the map. I should be able to get you back up. Yeah, you should be.
The fact you have to go over the checkpoint is annoying. There's an annoying little thing about it. But fuck, that was actually really fun because we'd upped the difficulty, I think, from when we did the main game. And there was that boss fight we did, and holy shit. The whole ground is like hurting you constantly. And then multiple bosses were coming out at one go. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to beat this boss. I'd run out of ammo, run out of everything. And I was ducking and weaving like crazy and pulled it off. I was like, holy shit.
And then we had that amazing moment in gaming where we both, we died and we had to look at each other and be like, all right, What rings do we have on? What amulets are we using?
We got to change.
What
the
are
build
our
up.
archetypes?
Yeah.
Let's actually look at this. And we nailed it the next time.
I mean, you got to give it credit. The bosses in that are actually well thought out, challenging. They throw new dynamic sort of changes, the way the map works. Like that whole boss we had with the rings, and it was very like you've just got to be dodge heavy and get your shots off at the right time.
Be patient.
It's much of a longer one. Yeah, It was really fun. It was good.
Here's a nuance Guy had that you might not know about as well. Spotify, it can be used on console. Here we've been with one AirPod in and our headset on the other.
This was really embarrassing. So like for years I would game and on Xbox and I'd have an earpod in, listening to music whilst I was doing it. Whatever game it was, I was like, I'd often even turn off the in-game music just so I could listen to my own one and then have the dialogue or whatever. Then somebody, at one point I was telling them about it, and I was like, you realize fucking Xbox has a Spotify app? I was like, get fucked. Went and downloaded it, immediately syncs to my Spotify, all my music's there. On my iPhone, I can see what song's playing so I can like it as I'm gaming. And then you get to fiddle with the music and the dynamic. So I was like playing Dragon's Dogma, just listening to my tunes the whole time. And I was like, it is such a game changer. My ears used to hurt because the pod was in there and the headphones over the top of it.
It's kind of like when you try to go to bed listening to something and you can't get comfortable with the AirPod in your ear or against the pillow. But yeah, no, and then you came and told me tonight, and I was like, Spotify's on Xbox? And like, I've been playing Xbox for like 16 years, bro. And
wait a minute. You did.
I had no idea.
Oh my God.
I had no idea that was a thing. Yeah, so there you go. We're learning.
I hope there's some listeners out there going, is there?
Or
really?
We've just destroyed our reputation.
yeah.
40 seconds.
Yeah, I'm listening to a gaming podcast and these idiots didn't even know Spotify's on Xbox. Fuck.
Hey, give us a rating. Share us around. We also have a website. Don't know if you saw it on socials. theeveninggamer.com.au. We've been working hard on that. Go check it out. All our reviews are there. Links to the podcast. We're going to be continuously working on that. Forums, newsletters, these types of things. Go check it out.
Yeah. If you're listening to us and you even have a thought in any of the episodes that you think we're wrong or any kind of thought on what we're listening, don't hesitate. Shoot us a message. We're keen to hear from everybody.
Definitely. Corrections, or correct me if I'm wrong. We only have one, and it was the last episode we were talking about Ezio and Altair from Assassin's Creed, and you asked me off cuff, what's the dude's name in the desert? And we were both like, well, there you go. That's not, they didn't leave a lasting impression from that game, but his name was Basim.
I do remember that game because I think his wife was like the bad girl, or she'd gotten into the assassins thing before he did. I remember the story a little bit of that one.
Yeah, it was the first time they gave you the moral conundrum of actually maybe these assassins aren't doing the best thing all the time. It was the first game that kind of presented that and positioned that as like a conundrum for you.
God, do you reckon? Fuck, I'm trying to remember some of the old... No. There was Rogue. So like after they did Black Flag, they did a spin-off, and it's like the father, I think Edward Conway. Holy shit, if I've got that right, I'm going to be impressed. But the dad was evil and he was an assassin.
And that was betrayal at its best.
Oh, man, I can't believe I remembered that.
So that's the only correction.
Hopefully I've just redeemed our gaming now for that memory.
Anyway, Spotify and Xbox. There you go. Senuas Sacrifice.
Yeah, let's rip in.
Let's do it. Okay, Ninja Theory. August 2017, so a few years back now. It's the age-old Viking spin-off third-person action adventure. A couple of the genres that kind of play into this game, because I'm going to start introducing that. I think it's an important part of like introducing games to people. There's a bit of puzzle solving. It's hack and slash, and it's also kind of categorized as indie.
Yeah, I was surprised by that because the developer is, they've done the Devil May Cry series, so they do have some gaming repertoire behind them. But yeah, I mean, it's
it's cross-platform is what you're lost for words. I'll pick it back up. It's cross-platform, so it's available to everyone. It's very much solely crafted around storyline. And it's rather linear. So there's a few things to mention before you dive into Senuas Sacrifice. But we're going to be talking all about it. And you've played it very recently.
I have.
I played it a couple of years ago. I still have a lasting memory of playing that game. But when it comes to story, I'm going to hand over to you for our first pillar and kind of walk us through the premise.
Yeah, so I mean, we are going to break down into our categories that we've sort of been honing in on over a period of this pod. And yeah, so I played it most recently. You really enjoyed it. You highly rated it to me, so I gave it a try. And in trying the game, I tried not to go, T really enjoyed this, and so I'm being extra critical about it, or just sort of enjoying it for what it was. So I really tried to give it a good go, and I just finished it. And so the storyline is you play Senua, and Senua has had a very rough upbringing in sort of a Norse sort of background of where it's set. And her lover has been sort of murdered, flayed in quite brutal fashion. And she is going into Helheim to basically either sort of release him or sort of get him out of hell, I guess, and into sort of whatever they call the afterlife in, the sort of Norse mythology. And so it's Valhalla, very nice. So yeah, it's her sort of descent, and it's not just her descent into this adventure, but it's also a layered element of, in her own mind, she's going through a very psychotic state, and there's a lot of times the game makes you think that you're versing a boss or a moment's occurring, and it's layered. There's other elements going on here about what's actually going on in her own mind. She doesn't actually talk a lot. She hears a lot of voices, and the voices in her head make you doubt what you're doing, or it's sort of quite a immersive game, and you have to play it with your headphones on. I wouldn't sort of be pumping it out of your TV or anything like that, just because it really does get into your sort of the back of your brain as you hear this woman. And I think, when we sort of get to scoring it, it was one of the elements that really was fantastically done. I think games that take on heavy topics like this are often few and far between, and when they nail it, you really did feel that this girl was going to hell and back.
Yeah, and
mentally and physically.
Yeah, and that's what I really liked about this game, to echo what you were saying, is that she kind of faces off the same power struggle between that darkness throughout the game, and it progressively worsens. And I think even in the game, every time you die, this kind of darkness, disease, if you will, kind of spreads even further up your body. So there is kind of that critical element of it in the back of your mind that, there's not only these voices telling you not to do things and telling you to do things, but you're also really aware of the decisions you make and how they can kind of impact your journey in this game long term.
Yeah, because I mean, there's not too many, either you have options in this game of do you choose to do this or do you choose to do that? It's just, if you die, then the rot spreads further, and if it eventually reaches your head, then you do completely die. And when we get to sort of field mechanics, I've actually marked it down for that.
There you go. Right. You know something else I love, and I love games that do this, games that are able to start immediately and it's quick. This game starts with you rowing down a river. You're clearly, not okay.
Yeah.
And you're instantly there's a little tickle to this game as sitting there with your controller being like, what's this? What's going on? And the game goes, why don't you just walk up into the forest there and find out? And you're like, all right, but
yeah,
you're kind of constantly unsure what's around the corner, which I think was great.
Definitely. I'd agree with you on that. And they did throw you straight into the game with not a lot of preamble set up. It's not like you saw a Star Wars scroll of fucking text at the beginning. There's no HUD as well.
Yes.
So it is very immersive. And sort of, it's that's where it really probably is a shining light of what makes this game quite good, and probably what led to them doing a sequel for it. But there is a list of cons, that I've kind of got together. But the storyline, I think we unanimously can agree, is the best part of the game.
Yeah, totally agreed. Well, talk to me about some of those cons.
Well, I mean, the cons are in some of the other categories.
In some of the other pillars. So let's talk about field mechanics, because this is it's very hack and slash.
It's very hack and slash.
As per its genre.
Yes.
Now, I typically don't like hack and slash games. I find combat can be repetitive, and somewhat boring at times, and sometimes also with hack and slash a little bit easy, because you're not given as much autonomy in the combat and your capabilities to improvise. But I'm keen to hear what you thought, because I don't think you enjoy hack and slash that much either. My
hands get sore when I'm punching the controller for as long as I am at times. And like, you know, the moveset in this, yeah, as you said, very hack and slashy. I mean, that is the genre of it, but you had block, you had a light, you had a heavy, and then you had your special ability. You know, and you even compare that to a Dragon's Dogma where it's like, you know, click this and then you get a whole bunch X, Y, Zs, you know, a lot more movesets. It was very simplified, but the block was probably one of the most satisfying blocks that I've seen in a game. The way it sort of slows down, like that was very nicely done. But
and just on that, sorry, before you go on the next point, I think that is such a strength of combat games. And I think a lot of games really neglect that. It's how much of a cinematic can we make out of every single fight?
Which is the right word for that, because it was very cinematic. When you're in a fight in that game and you're nailing your blocks and you're nailing the sort of your attacks at the right moment, you're dodging out of some of these big swinging axes, you're like, yeah, I'm flying. The flow's nice.
I mean, when you do a good block or parry in that game, you feel like a Super Saiyan. Like it slows down. There's this big like ching of the fucking
screen
swords,
flashes,
the screen flashes. Like it's really kind of like it makes you almost want to string out the combat just to continue hitting the parries.
Yeah,
which isn't something that like even in some of the top games from a combat perspective, like Elden Ring, it didn't even have that. So that really drew me to this game, and especially when you think about some of the boss fights, the mini boss fights that you had. You versed Fenrir at one point, which is their kind of I suppose, rendition of, in Norse mythology, that's the wolf that was caged. But he's very much like a Hades character in Norse mythology, I believe, because he kind of wants to consume the world.
I think he eats the sun or the moon.
Yeah,
or
something like that.
Yeah.
But just even when the parry carries over to fights like that, it keeps you constantly engrossed. But I'm keen to hear more of these cons. I think you had another point there.
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, limited enemy types. I don't think there was an expansive quantity of enemies. You had the sort of simple guys, then you had the shield dudes, then you had the mace guys, and you had the giant fellas, and then the axe throwers. And it's like, that's basically 5.
Yeah, so fair.
They then layered it with, there was maybe 2 boss battles. No, there was 4 because there's the 2 at the start.
Yeah,
So I mean, there was a few boss battles. So the feel and mechanics for me was probably the next highest I scored it, because I felt it was as we talked about with the game we did, Sea of Stars. It didn't bite off more than it could chew. It did what it wanted to do, and it did it well. It didn't sort of go way over the top. I think it was tight. It was nice and clean.
Yeah. What about the challenge and entertainment? And this is going to be an interesting one, because how do you feel about puzzle-solving games?
I love a good puzzle-solving game. The satisfaction when you figure out the puzzle, and some of the best games is the Batman series with the Riddler's ones. There's a lot of puzzles in that, and they're very satisfying when you work it out. But you do spend a lot of time sort of trying to do it. But the puzzles in this, they broke the immersion for me, because I found myself... Because it's not a fast game. There is a run element, but it's still, because it's so immersive, to get from one side of an area to the next, if you fuck up a puzzle, is like, fuck, just hurry up. Like, get there. I've already run over there. Now I'm running back over there for a fucking puzzle, and it's taking me for ages, and all I'm listening to is this woman's voices in her head going like, you're going the wrong way.
Yeah,
like, shut up.
And it also did get a bit repetitive. Like, towards the end of the game, you're still kind of solving the same puzzle. Like, you're still kind of matching up symbols to unlock doors, and like, you're like, I did this in level 1.
Yeah.
Like, why am I still doing it now? So a little bit repetitive, but like the biggest puzzle game I've ever played was the Turing Test.
Ooh.
And that game showed me that you can have puzzles of the same nature, but have enough differentiation in there. Differentiation?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I love these mini strokes I have when recording. But you know what I mean? Throughout, that keeps it fresh. And I don't think Senuas Sacrifice did that very well.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, this is the puzzle we're going with. So cut, paste for multiple other ones with a slight twist on it, but not a twist that was groundbreaking enough for me.
Having said that, from an entertainment piece specifically, loved it. Like, as we just spoke about with the parries, I spoke about the tickle that you get at the beginning of the game. Like, you don't know what is around the next corner. Like, the entertainment level in this game, the cutscenes, the dark places, and also the environmental challenges, I think were really, really well done, really strong.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was entertained. To ask myself that question, yes, I was entertained playing through the game. I was curious to see where the story went. It was interesting, of the world they built. But with how long it took me to complete the game and also kind of how easy the game was, the challenge element of the fear it sets up at the start of this rot taking over her body, and it's
doesn't really play a part.
Doesn't play a part at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I died once, like a full death restart. Like a couple of times I hit the deck and you have to then like claw yourself back up. But even when they're throwing, 30 guys at you, you're just ducking, parrying, a few slashes, and you can make it through pretty easy. So I didn't find it a hard game. I felt that at the end of the day, when I finally finished this game and I put it down, I had a really sort of profound feeling of, I've just played a game demo, was my feeling.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. But also, I think that like the story didn't hold me either. Like from an entertainment perspective, like the storyline is strong. It's very strong and it's very good at building up how much this bloke means to her and why it's so important that she's doing this and all that. I get that. But halfway through, I was like, I don't know, love. I might have backed out halfway through this. Like you're going through the absolute turnstiles here and you're absolutely in hell, and I just couldn't get on board with why.
Well, so like I also had that feeling of not like why are you going through this, but more just like I got to a point sort of 3/4 through where I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like who, like we're getting flashbacks, talking to her father's abusive, the mother's in there. You go through some really hellscape kind of locales and you're like, I don't really get what's happening here. And then at the very end, I won't ruin it. We try not to ruin the game, but I did have to go watch a clip to make it make sense to me. And when the coin dropped, which was in this video explaining it to me, I was like, I didn't get it when I was playing it. And it's quite rare that I finish a game and I go, I kind of didn't get it. But like, I got that she was in a psychotic state and there was elements of this is, I thought, a lot of it in her own mind. And at the end, it comes to the conclusion, like pretty much almost the entire sort of thing of it is basically her facing her own demons and her own madness. And the big boss is basically her. She's overcoming her own fucking issues.
Yeah, there you go. And but having said that, this game produced, and this is probably one for the extras, the loot and extras, this game produced one of the best sequences / gameplay through scenes that I've ever done. Like that, there's this level in this game where you drop into pretty much a dark house and it's so dark and there's these entities in this room that you have to avoid and you can't awaken and you need to like sneak past them.
Oh yeah, I remember that part.
And like I remember playing that being like, this is the most intense.
That was pretty creepy.
Yeah, this is, and I've played a lot of horror games. Like I've played a lot of the Resident Evils and all those types of things, and this trumped all of them. Like that was so well done and such a niche thing to do, and they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it.
That sequence, you're ducking those wands, and then you sort of down in the water for a little bit, or even when Fenrir is chasing you. When you're in the darkness in this setup of that boss fight, I definitely felt the little tingle, like, being like, oh, this is a bit stressful. Like, come on. At
the bottom of your spine, it's like, oh, I just want to get into the sunlight. Like, what's going on here?
It did that well. It did do that well. But, I mean, speaking of that Fenrir fight, I know you really enjoyed it, but I was like, it's almost one of those things where, like, I was looking forward to it. I was like, I'm going to fight Fenrir here. You do the fight, and it's like, I felt like I was having a fucking aneurysm. Like the screen kept flashing, it'd go black and then red midway through the fight, and you're supposed to be still ducking whilst you're fighting this thing. And I was like, it's too much. Like I'm having a sensory fucking overload in this fight that it gave me a headache. I was like, God damn.
Imagine if that just turns out to be your TV. I don't remember that.
I mean, imagine it's me realizing I've got fucking Tourette's or something like that.
You've just got the red, blue, black colouring going wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got the isms.
I do have fucking, what is it called? I'm colorblind with red and green, so maybe that is it.
You have the sight of a bat, I reckon.
Maybe.
God gave you a motor mouth and not much in the eyes. Character dev and build. Now, there's really not much of a build.
There is no build.
You do have to kind of gear up to get your main piece of equipment, which I really liked.
There's missions in it. So it's the story, coming back to the storyline of like how she then obtains this piece of, this one item, basically the only item you obtain in the whole fucking game. And look, in terms of character dev, obviously there. That is her, by definition. This is a girl going through a descent into madness and how she comes out the other side. So like coming back to tackling the themes of depression, abusive parents, all these kind of things, that's fantastic. But the actual build part about it is non-existent. There is no build.
Yeah, as you said, like it's very good from a combat standpoint because you got the block, you got the parry, you got the heavy, you got the light. But outside of that, I don't really remember you having any throwables. I don't remember you having any abilities. I don't remember you having a strong dodge or any other mechanics like that. So
the dodge was good, the sidestep, and there was different styles of that sidestep. But like that to me doesn't then add up on a good build. I think this is what comes back to me on the demo of it, and this is what I think. If they do this sequel, I'm very excited to see, is it more of the same, where it's this really immersive, no HUD, no real, I know we're talking about loot in a minute, no collectibles or no skills upgrading. I think this is a game that would be so perfect if you just added in a tiny bit of the sort of almost the God of War-esque, changing of pick a different type of weapon or level up that weapon, and then you put the skills where you want it to go.
But does that take away from the hack and slash element of it? If you want to make a hack and slash game, can you incorporate those things while simultaneously not abandoning your main genre?
Yes, and the God of War games did it perfectly. The God of War games of back in the day, pure hack and slash. There was so much like just hitting the button, he'd be swinging the blades, then there was different items you'd get and it would kind of change it up. So even those old games did it really well, but the new ones, the new God of Wars, far out. Like the axe he has versus the chains he's got, you can do it fantastically where it's still got a tight combat, but then some variety to it, and that's what this game is calling out for.
Yeah, love that. Well, you said you were going to go into loot and extras next.
I buried it on loot and extras.
Yeah.
There was one collectible throughout the whole thing, which I like the fact it told you more of the Norse mythology. Fine. One, you had to stand next to it to listen to the fucking thing, which annoyed me. I couldn't get going to my next objective while I still listened to this fucking thing.
Kind of comes back to our problem that we had playing Remnant 2, mate. You're not patient for lore.
I like to think I'm quite patient, but clearly in the last couple of days I haven't been. But then the other element of it was it's quite easy to miss these fucking collectibles. And you then cannot go back. You have to play the game all over again. And I've talked about it before of going, a game like this, why, it takes so long to run down these corridors.
And in a linear game as well, sorry to cut you off, in a linear game as well, how much extra exploring can you do or are you willing to do when it's kind of like, here's A, go to B?
Exactly. And I don't know, I should have Googled what do you actually get if you get it, but I missed one so early on that I was like, I give up. I don't care anymore. It annoys me.
I missed 2, and at the end of the game, I was like, I'm not replaying just for 2 of those things.
Exactly.
Not happening.
And that was the only loot. There was no other loot to be collected. And again, it could really serve its purpose to go, there's a little bit of loot. If you have a really tight fight sequence, you don't get hit once and you parry everything, drop something on the fucking ground that gives me a little XP that I can then apply to a skill set or something like that.
Yeah, I also buried it when it came to this pillar a little bit, but what lifted it up for me were, we have loot and extras here for a reason, and it's kind of outside of these pillars. What are the wow moments? When you think of anything miscellaneous in a game that doesn't fit directly into a pillar, how did a game perform in those avenues? And I think that there were some moments where this game kind of led the way in terms of how it introduced you to her, the health of her psyche. And there, as I said, that one scene walking through, that's definitely an extra for me. That's above and beyond challenge and entertainment. Very well thought out. But yeah, I also kind of buried it in this pillar as well.
I mean, yeah, what it did well of the immersion, the storyline, the way it addressed themes, gives it high marks in one area, but then in other areas it really drops down. Loot and extras being a main one, the build, some of the challenge and entertainment elements of it. So I am really keen to see when they do the sequel, is it going to be more of the same? Is that game going to take longer than fucking 8 hours to complete? It reminds me, there was a game called Evil West that came out not long ago that I'm going to review at one point. And I don't know, have I already reviewed it? I don't know.
No, you haven't.
And that game, you could complete in no time at all. And it's like, if you're charging 3/4 full price and you can complete the game in less than 8 hours, Come on.
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of the sequel, Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, drops a week from today. So that's May 21st. So look, if you haven't played Senua's Sacrifice, I would recommend it to
Yeah,
a
I'd
lot of
recommend
people.
it too. It's a quick game. You'll knock it out in no time. You'll knock it out in a
Sometimes that's
day.
a good thing. Sometimes that's a good thing. But also what I was going to say is I actually really enjoyed playing with her. Like thinking of like, I think we had a question last week, which was like characters you resonated with. She's a badass, man. This Senua girl, playing her as a character is like really enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, knowing her backstory that's revealed over the course of it, this is a girl who was basically locked in her house, sort of escaped from her abusive father, sort of fell in with this guy who then taught her how to fight. And it is a... it's nice. Like, it's cool. I really like that part of the storyline of it. I sort of appreciate it for that part about it. But, with, again, coming back to because we're now doing the ratings in these categories, you can then go in these other areas. This game didn't nail it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do the rating.
Yep.
And I'm going to let you lead the way. I've got my kind of out of 10s for each pillar here, but I'm going to let you lead the way. And if I'll challenge you, or if there's something contentious, we'll kind of hash it out. Yeah. So go for it. Storyline.
8.
I would agree with that. I had a 7.5. I kind of had an 8 as a starting point and then marked it down half a mark because I was like, actually, it kind of lost me. Like at times I felt like this was, it's kind of like if you had a game and you pitched it to a developing board and they were like, that's a great idea for a game. And then 6 months into development, you kind of sat back and you didn't really recognize your original idea. I felt like sometimes that was what happened here.
I mean, like, I hear what you're saying. I think maybe, like, I gave it an 8 because if I actually understood it and I didn't need to watch a clip to explain me the ending, I probably would have scored it higher. But, I think it is a really good story, and to so eloquently compact what that is over 8 hours, I think it deserves a solid score for it.
Yeah, sometimes I like that, though. Like, I'm sure everyone listening, and yourself included, has gone into Google after watching a movie and Googled the fandom on that movie. Like
IMDb
Inception is a perfect example of it. Like, do you mark down Inception as a movie because you had to Google a few things?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite rare that I will end up Googling it. I'm sort of reminding me of like year 9 English class where it's like, what's the themes?
Yeah. Your English teacher knows more than the author.
Yeah. Why do they always know more?
In Blade Runner, when he tried to use the Voight-Kampff machine on himself, is that representative of people not knowing who they are? Are we all in a simulation?
We all know the director was just like, this will be cool. This will be really cool.
I don't see your name on the fucking book.
Yeah, where were you on the cast list, bitch?
Field mechanics.
7.
Yep, nailed it. Me too. Nothing groundbreaking, but not disappointing in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean it's 7 because, as we said, it was tight. It was nicely done. It wasn't sort of frustrating. It was just you could really flow with the game, and I like games that you can flow with.
Yeah, challenge and entertainment.
6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hard. Why 6? Because we're a 3-point difference here.
Because
I went 9.
It was easy. The puzzles broke the immersion, and they weren't challenging. And that one boss battle annoyed the shit out of me.
Okay, I hear, but I'm going to challenge you. Sea of Stars, which you reviewed last week, wasn't overly challenging.
What did I score that one?
7.
All right, so I will go 6.5 on this one.
I'm gonna veto here. I'm gonna go 7.2.
Okay, all right. Well,
I think that's fair. It was very entertaining, guy.
Character.
We're moving on.
It was entertaining for a fucking hot minute. It's 8 hours.
Mate,
it's like
you've got me down 1.8.
All right.
You've won the battle. Trust me. Character dev and build
6.
What?
So I marked it down because you get 2 powers. You get the sword.
Have you just seen that I've written 2 9s and you've just flipped them on their head?
No, I haven't seen what you've scored it. You get 2 powers. There's no build mechanics whatsoever.
It's right in front of you. You are blind.
It's simple. It's superficial at the best of times. The only reason it even gets a 6 is because the character dev of what she goes through. If that wasn't half as good as it was, I would have marked it even further down. Because this game, as I said, was crying out for layers to it in this area, and it just had nothing.
Okay. I hear. Yeah, okay. I think it's low. I think that's low for.
Oh, all right. Well, let's.
I
split,
know.
let's
I know.
split-
I actually.
Let's split the diff again.
No.
because-
Fuck splitting the difference. I want to live and die by this review matrix, and I'm hearing everything you're saying, and yeah, it might actually be a 6. You're right. Well, I'm going to go first for loot and extras here, so there's no surprises. I gave it 6 for loot and extras.
I gave it 3. So my reasoning is, you
hated this game. Why'd you finish it?
The storyline was 8. It was really good. I gave the loot and extras 3 because there was one collectible. If you missed it, you fucking missed it the whole game. It broke the immersion looking for this shit. You couldn't listen to it as you moved around. You had to stand there with your thumb in your mouth.
What about the extra moments, bro? What about those extra moments? What about that scene? What about the tickle you get, the spine tingling? They're wow moments.
They're to me in the storyline. Like, I wouldn't put them as like an extra. The loot and extras for me are like the add-on peripheral, like the collectibles, and there just were none in this. Like,
it's a 3.
So many useless corridors. There's no loot.
It's a write-off, gamers. Don't play Senuas Sacrifice. Fuck the sequel coming out on the 21st. Guy reckons it's a 3 out of 10.
I know it's going to bomb out the score, but like I really tried to be beholden to the categories we've set. And that's why storyline, I agree with you, was good, but it was a sliding scale from that point on in every other category.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, it comes out at a 6.24. How do you feel about that as an out of 10?
I as I said at one point, when I finished this game, I had a really feeling in my heart to go, and this is a demo. This is a demo.
Yeah.
If they'd spent more time on it and enhanced it, developed it, which I think is what this sequel may be.
Would you play the sequel based on your
fuck yeah, I'll play the sequel.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, the storyline is an 8. Like I wouldn't... An 8's a high score for a storyline. I think if the sequel is more of this and there's more to this, and it's like I'm eating a bigger fucking sandwich than just this little fucking snack, then...
What a great way to put it.
I will rate it higher.
You know what's good about having these individual pillars is we can clearly look now and say to everyone listening, if you're a gamer that likes hack and slash and you like a cinematic combat experience, play this game. If you're someone that likes storyline and gets on board with linear games, play this game. And if you like a game that when you do turn around a corner, it's going to challenge you in a way you weren't expecting, then play this game.
Yeah.
If you love upgrading things, if you love finding loot, if you are all about building a character and having that character development and finding those loot pieces and all that type of stuff, maybe think twice.
You're so on the money with that. If you like Dragon's Dogma 2 and that's like you're looking at that as your game of the year, this game ain't for you.
Yeah, you're not going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We've done it again. It's bulletproof, mate.
Yeah, I think it really is. Like this takes out the bias of it. Like you really, if you're beholden to these categories, you have to, rate it where it lands.
That almost knocked me off my chair, that 3 out of 10. No, I was not expecting a 3 there.
We should continue doing this where we don't know what we've each rated.
I actually really like it.
That was good.
6.24. Give it a whack if you're into those 3 pillars. If you're into the other 2, I wouldn't even bother. You're probably going to tear it to shreds like Guy did. Love that. And I think that we're really nailing... I know we keep saying this, but we're getting better at these reviews. Like... It's so true because if anything is above an 8 or a 9 out of 10 across all these pillars, it has to be that S tier game.
Yeah.
And so I don't mind when we honestly rate these games and they fall where they are, where they may.
I almost feel like this is... I have this rule about movies I watch that it has to be higher than a 7.9 on IMDb. And I've used this rule for years and years and years, and it's never served me wrong. I've gone, any movie or TV show that's rated on IMDb higher than a 7.9 is must-watch top-tier television.
Yeah.
Anything beneath that, it might be a cult classic, there might be an exception, it might make you laugh, but above 7.9s are just pure cinema gold. With this rating system, we're going to land in a place, I almost think, where if it's above a 7.9 in an average rating on what we're scoring it, it's like, yeah, must-play quality gaming.
And to be fair, that is exactly what we're trying to mold here, is that IMDb speak for the people, not the advertisers, not the marketers. Don't give a rating aligned with that. Speak for the people, for the gamers that would enjoy this, and give an an honest rating. So I'm more than happy to keep doing that as well.
And I think, I mean, there may be times where I think it's clear you and I are different styles of gamers, and I think that works. If we were both very much identical gamers and we agreed on everything, then it would almost be boring, But there are times where we're definitely going to get it wrong, and I still look back at Baldur's Gate 3 thinking I'm probably feeling like I'm getting that one wrong and I need to give it another go, but
also, have a backbone in a way and stand up for your genres. If you loved Senuas Sacrifice and you think it's a 10, then it's a 10 for you.
Yeah.
And that's why we're laying it out. If you like storyline and mechanics, great game. Yeah, it could be a 10 for you. But, I've hated some movies. Other people love them.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this before. And I think what speaks to the unbias in this review system is when I was doing a little bit of research for this episode, because I played this game a long time ago, I saw that the ratings on Google and stuff like that, everyone, IGN, all these other dickheads, were giving it fucking 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. Then we sit here and we actually, having played the game, and I went in raw in this game. I didn't watch a trailer. I just found it sitting there in the Microsoft Store. So we both had an authentic experience. Yeah. Granted, sounds like I pumped up the tires a little bit in a few areas that you've come in and kind of deflated them. But yeah, I think that's solid.
Yeah. And the other element I really like about what we're doing here is just, I think there's going to be gamers out there who listen to this pod who go, I wasn't going to give that game a try, but now I might, I might give it a go, and sort of go off your beaten track a little bit. Yeah.
Questions from a hat.
Questions from a hat. So what game mechanic did you enjoy that broke ground?
What game mechanic did I enjoy? That's a really good question.
I know we talked before about the GTA weapon wheel was often one. I think they were Rockstar the ones that introduced that, and sort of have to check our notes on that one. But there are obviously games where a mechanic is introduced and it becomes a standard or a pillar in the industry.
Yeah. The gaming or the weapon wheel, is a great example of that, of what we're talking about here. I have two. Can I go for two?
Yeah, that's fine.
The first one that comes to mind, and it's such an obvious one, is what Respawn did in Apex Legends with the ping system. Yep. And you always know when a mechanic is top tier when other games try and mimic that. Yep. And we saw that, be mimicked in DRG in some fashion in one of their latest patches. We saw it mimicked in Warzone. Everyone trying to integrate a ping system, but didn't do it as well as Respawn. So I think that's one of them.
That's a good one.
The other one I would say is I've played a lot of Souls games, as anyone that's been listening to this podcast for a while knows. And something that they did was being able to turn a one-handed weapon into a two-handed weapon at any time by just clicking like RB up.
Yeah.
And it changed how much damage it did. It changed the queuing of the attack. I think that's such a simple mechanic.
Yeah.
But if you can master that in the game, it actually really changes the outcomes for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they're both solid ones. So mine's sort of a little bit different is the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. What they did in those games with this hierarchy of orcs that was sort of inbuilt, and there was a whole menu system, and you systematically broke this hierarchy down, turned them against each other, sort of used your skills within the game to send them against one another and fight each other. It was such a revolutionary type of system that would be fantastic in so many open world games, and I think some games have attempted to kind of replicate it a little bit, but I'm pretty sure they've actually sort of put legally sort of they own that system, so other games cannot almost pilfer it, clone it in its entirety. But it added so much layers to the game that and it was also randomly generated. These orcs and sort of bad guys were never the same for two players.
Yeah,
which was even smarter then, because it's like you feel so it's your game.
Yeah, it's
unique.
Your experience. I wrote the code. I wrote how this played out for me.
Yeah, like it's a two-tiered thing of sort of saying you have the storyline that occurs within the game that everybody does experience, but then you have this other element which is unique to you.
Yeah.
Which was really nicely done. The Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. The Shadow of Mordor is the first one, and that one is a really good game.
Yeah.
If you like Lord of the Rings and you haven't played that game, play that game. But the Shadow of War one kind of amps everything up to 1,000,000. And I remember playing it and just almost getting overwhelmed by the size of it. It was too much.
Yeah, nice. Sometimes that's a nice thing, though. Like everyone has a game that sat in their DVR, their hard drive for months, many months, and you keep going back to it. So I like those big games. They're not the odd. They're not the Senuas Sacrifices.
No,
that you
they're
do in
certainly
8
not.
hours.
I mean, that one is definitely one I think twice I've tried to give it a really good go, Shadow of War. And then the other ones I've tried to give a really good, and I feel like we should do a question and hat on this and later on, was Dishonored, the Dishonored series.
Yeah, right.
You know, which I think you'd actually really enjoy.
There you go. Well, I'm still playing Royce's Ashen at the moment. But yeah,
Nice.
I'll get to it.
Okay.
Do you want to hear my question?
Yes, let's go.
I had a question queued, but I'm actually going to go and ask you a question that I've kind of had waiting to ask for a while now.
All right.
And I really want to talk it out.
Okay.
And it's because I think Pokemon, I was going through my Pokemon cards today and being like, oh, I've got to get like a display case for all these. So Pokemon is on the mind. Here's my question.
Yeah.
The OG starting Pokemons.
Yeah.
So Pikachu, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and not Venusaur. What's
Well, yeah, it's Bulbasaur, it's Charmander, and then it's Squirtle.
Squirtle? Yes. Which one's the best?
The best.
And now, not the one that you choose because everyone wants to get Pikachu. And that shit, Pikachu's in there.
You could even pick Pikachu at the start.
Well, in yellow you can.
Well, in yellow, but we're talking OG.
Oh,
red and
follows you around
red
everywhere.
and
Okay, do you just
blue?
want to do the 3?
yeah,
red,
just
blue,
the
green.
3. Right, yeah.
Go on.
I always picked Charmander. Like that was always the one.
Is
I
that
picked.
because Charizard was just the baddest?
I mean, like fuck, it is pretty good. But I don't know. I think maybe I was a pyro as a kid or something. But Charmander was the go-to.
I always went Squirtle.
Yeah.
I reckon because water Pokemon served you so much in that game. Like if you think water
There was a lot
always
of
super
yeah,
effective against
yeah.
rock. It was super effective against flying. It was super effective, I think, against psychic. The
I
only
can't
thing you were
remember.
really vulnerable to was grass Pokemon.
Which
and
in the
also
early part of the game there was
Blastoise-
a lot of grass.
Blastoise was the baddest, bro.
He's got 2 bazookas in his bloody.
Fucking Charizard had no chance.
Well, I mean, like, fuck. I don't know if when you line up the stats, which one is like,
Bulbasaur was a cutie, though.
Okay, interesting. Stop me in my tracks.
Yeah, so there you go. So I'm a Squirtle lad and you're a Charmander. I do like Charmander. Anyway, they were decent questions.
So there is one other element that you're forgetting that we need to talk about in this episode,
Go.
which is
Oh, yeah.
the fucking competition.
Yes, we're respinning.
Wow, you just gave that away with no preamble. The winner has not gotten back to us. We messaged them again, put a 24-hour timestamp on it. Still hasn't got back to us.
Abs has gone MIA.
He's off the map, after entering a competition, and he's won it, and he ain't going to be able to collect it, and we're now going to spin it again. And I told T we should spin it live on the pod, and you can announce it, but I don't think you want to do that.
I just think it'd be really difficult. I mean, we can right now if you want.
I mean, I was half tempted, but we all should almost see what the timestamp's at. But maybe film it and then
Yeah, we'll
post it
definitely
and
film
put it
it.
on the ground.
But yeah, there you go, everyone. We'll do our best to kind of push it out on the socials. And, well, I mean, we're going to probably do that before this drops, a day before this episode drops. But we're respinning. Everyone that entered the $100 still on the
still
table
there,
for
yeah.
you. Anyone that wants to get in, because we've had a few messages after the fact.
Are you going to add him in? Are you going to add him in? I reckon
that's not fair.
There's T's and C's here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to
not
get
fair.
a lawsuit.
No more
on this
add-ins. No,
$100.
you're absolutely right. I was about to go rogue there. No more add-ins. We're respinning. Keep an eye on the socials. We'll hit you up. Apart from that, don't be an NPC.
Keep leveling up.
Thanks, everyone.